The basics of this technique apply to blocking and evading any type of strike that approaches the lower body. The two primary goals of this technique are to block the strike using a less vulnerable part of the body and to escape as quickly as possible. By blocking the strike, we protect vulnerable structures of the abdomen and groin, regardless of whether the striking object is a foot, fist, IV pole, cane, or even a thrown object. Remember that you and your co-trainer must demonstrate all parts of the technique first so that the class can see the technique before they are asked to do the technique. Remind participants that all personal safety skills begin from the position of the supportive stance. As Brad will demonstrate, from the supportive stance, the forward leg is lifted from the ground so that the outer thigh blocks the incoming strike. In addition to blocking the strike from hitting more vulnerable areas, by raising the leg, we reduce the risk of injury to the knee. While the foot is on the ground, a strike to the leg can cause severe trauma and injury to the knee. By raising the foot from the ground even slightly, the leg and knee are no longer fixed objects in space and can move with the energy of the strike, thus reducing the danger of the impact. The primary goal of this technique is to prevent the strike from making contact with its intended target. So the most important step in this technique is to turn and leave. Now let's perform the technique as one fluid movement. For this part of the demonstration, Shanta will slowly approach Brad and perform a slow non-contact strike with her foot while Brad demonstrates the full technique. When you are training this technique in class, remember to give participants the following instructions. All movements should be slow and smooth, especially for the participant performing the fake kick. All techniques start from the supportive stance. No actual physical contact should occur between the striker and the person being struck. And all participants must demonstrate turning and going, since this is the key part of all of our techniques. Some common errors that participants make that you will need to correct in the classroom include the tendency of the person blocking the strike to place a foot or a hand in the path of the strike. Remind students that this is actually the opposite of what we want to do. Instead, we want to use the supportive stance to create more distance between us and the strike, while lifting the foot up and away, and then turning to go. To summarize this technique, the forward foot is raised from the ground, placing your outer thigh between more vulnerable areas and the strike. You turn immediately and exit.